it's often said that CEO job is the loneliest job in the world, and it kind of is.
Yeah.
And, but it's one of the hardest jobs in the world too.
Would you say that is true no matter how big the business is?
I would. Yeah. It's just hard to bring like the business home to your spouse. You don't want to burden your spouse. Sometimes your spouse doesn't get it. It's hard to bring it to your board because there's a certain vulnerability there if you're struggling. And it's hard to bring your team because you have to be like the inspiring leader of your team. So there's not many places a CEO can turn.
Yeah. How would you, if you were going to create a leadership definition of loneliness? I mean, obviously we understand the psychology of it.
Yeah.
But they're surrounded, but still lonely. So how would you describe what you've observed in that loneliness?
I think it's like, it's just that. It's like, where do I turn when I need advice or input or just somebody to bounce things off of? And so what I started to do for myself was think about horizontal mentors and vertical mentors. So horizontal mentors were peers of mine that were going through a similar thing. So similar size business, maybe not the same industry, but a group of folks that I could gather with at least quarterly and open up, and we could open up to each other. And so we got a really great group of CEOs together. For the majority of my career, we met once a quarter and for 2 days, and we would just open up the biggest business problem we had or personal problem we had.
Really?
And it was Chatham House rules, and you had 8 people giving you input. Which is great. So that's kind of horizontal mentoring. And then I think about vertical mentoring, which are people that are a chapter or two ahead of you in the journey.
Yes.
And they can say, hey, I've seen this movie before. Let me help you just break down how you might want to process this. Mm-hmm. And I think having horizontal mentors and vertical mentors is a hack that is super, super positive for CEOs, especially to defeat that loneliness aspect.
I want to dig into that.
It's harder to think, create, and lead when your body's running on fumes. When you sleep well, you perform better. That's why I love my Avocado Green mattress. Avocado mattresses are handcrafted from certified, organic, non-toxic materials. No junk, no chemicals, just comfort and support. So you wake up focused and ready to give your best at work and at home. Visit avocadogreenmattress.com/Ken and get an extra $50 off adult mattresses with the code FRONTROWSEAT.
First, let's talk about the horizontal mentors. I love this group of 8 CEOs. I think this is extremely practical for our audience of leaders that are watching this. What I'd love to know is, what did you observe and what did you learn about being one of those members, about how long it took to really get everybody to a place of opening up? Or was it just such a unique situation where day one, it was like, here it is? Take us into some of those meetings, what you observed and learned.
I think it depends on somebody in the group has got to get transparent and authentic fast.
I agree.
And so oftentimes in that group, somebody would. I think when you get a group of 6 or 8 together, you got a good chance that somebody's going to break the ice and set the tone and get real. And so there was a particular CEO in this group who got real and right away. And then that set the tone for the rest of us to say.
And without giving away any details that is none of our business, tell us what you can about the type of get real. What was it like? What happened? What was the kind of a revelation that happened?
I think like most of us were showing up ready to say, here's a struggle I'm having in my business. And this particular CEO showed up and said, I think I've lost my board. And we all kind of went, whoa,
right,
that's real. And as you walked through it, we were like, oh, you have lost your board. And so it was a serious situation for him. He's leading a company that was ready to go public. He could lose his job. And he went right there versus saying, hey, I'm struggling in this area of my go-to-market, or I'm struggling with this area of my balance sheet. He went right to the jugular issue, and that set us on a different course as a group together.
What did it do to that group?
Not only did we kind of open up more to each other, it created this bond that he was trusting us. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of then offered that trust to each other very quickly as that group kind of formed, which is one of the reasons I think that group stayed together for years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You still lifelong friends, or would you say that in some level you are?
Some level for sure. Yeah. We're still in contact with each other.
Yeah.
And we probably met for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another thought on that, and I don't want to move to the vertical, but the vulnerability there, once that happens, and I've been in similar things like this. And my experience is that when someone else is really vulnerable, like that CEO was, that it changes the level of insight and advice that I think you get. It's not just leading the way where everybody goes, okay, now I'll be vulnerable. But I feel like the more vulnerable someone is, the deeper and more intimate the advice. Have you noticed that, or did you notice that?
I think it's a dynamic amongst humans. If somebody brings their A game, you want to bring your A game back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was this discussion over the weekend about the NBA All-Star game and this new format.
Yeah.
And how one of the stars, Wemby, told the rest of the guys, hey, I'm here to play. And when he said that, a couple of folks perked up and said, I'm here to play too.
That's right.
And I think when that CEO said, hey, I'm going to be vulnerable about this issue, then you're sitting there saying, okay, now I've got to step up the kind of feedback or questions I'm going to ask, because they've now upped the bar and sort of stated we're going to play our A game in this room.
I love that. Okay, on the vertical mentor.
Yeah.
What's the secret sauce? What's John McNeil's way of approaching and also making sure that that time, which is limited, is really valuable? What did you learn about your vertical relationships?
I really learned from a great mentor I had. His name is Fred Massoni, and Fred was a super accomplished automotive executive. And he was 20 years my senior when we met. And he was the first person in the U.S. in the automotive industry trained by the Japanese. And he was super insightful, but one of the things he said to me early on was, John, leaders, really good leaders, are teachers. I'm going to teach you to be a teacher, not a talker. And that, I think, set a tone for us. And I really was a student at his feet for years in learning how to be a better teacher. And so when I'm a vertical mentor now, I'm doing a lot more asking than telling, thanks to Fred. And I approach it with this teacher mindset, like, okay, I am here to help this person.